Just a warning, this is an adult conversation between adults that discusses some pretty confronting themes at times. So if you have little ears in the vicinity, you might want to grab some headphones. Hi, I'm Mia Friedman, and you're listening to No Filter. Samuel Johnson has 2 sisters and 1 Gold Logie. He also has some frozen sperm sitting in a freezer at a clinic somewhere in Melbourne. We'll get to the sperm and that Logie moment later. Samuel Johnson has also had a lot of personal tragedy and hardship in his life. A lot more than you probably realise. Depending on your age, you might know Sam from his breakout role on the hit TV show The Secret Life of Us, which was the hottest thing in Australia from 2001 to 2005 when it screened on Channel 10. He was the star of that show and he shone very, very brightly. It wasn't his first acting gig though. He was discovered in a school play at age 14 and he got the first 20 jobs he went for. If you know anything about acting, you'll be suitably impressed, and you should be, because that never happens. Soon, he was earning enough to pay his own school fees and help support his family, who started a second-hand book business. The last remaining shop is still owned by his sister Connie, who lives in Canberra. Sam had roles in all the iconic shows of the 90s, Home and Away, Blue Heelers, Halifax FP and Stingers, but The Secret Life of Us was the big one, the one that made him next level famous. And that kind of fame brings its own issues. It's not all parties, money and accolades. Battles with drugs and alcohol sucked up a lot of Sam's 20s and some of his 30s. He was even arrested in 2007 for getting into a brawl outside a casino. A year or so before that, his girlfriend Lainey committed suicide. And it wasn't even the first time Sam had to deal with someone he loved taking their own life. His mother had died the same way when he was just a toddler. How does anyone recover from that once, let alone twice? Sam's answers to that question in this interview left me almost speechless. Almost. His view of the world is truly unlike anyone I've ever met. He was just 10 years old when his big sister Connie was diagnosed with cancer for the first time, and it was the return of that cancer a few years ago that changed both their lives and the lives of hundreds of thousands of other women who have become part of the extraordinary Love Your Sister village, the villagers they call themselves. Sam and Connie and all the villagers have had their lives changed by Love Your Sister for the better, at a time when many people would assume it would have caused darkness to descend. It didn't, and it still hasn't, despite Connie being in the final stages of her life. I'll admit, on a personal level, I've been a bit scared of Sam. We talk about that during the interview, but having spent an hour with him up close and personal in our podcast studio in Melbourne, I'm certainly not scared anymore. This man is, well, just listen. Check out Love Your Sister at loveyoursister.org or like them on Facebook at Love Your Sister. Here's Samuel Johnson. How old are you?
I'm 39.
Oh, so you're such a baby. How old were you when you did Secret Life of Us?
21. I was the youngest in the cast.
What are your memories of those times? As we drink our tea. No, you can drink your tea.
Really.
Did you have much acting experience?
Yeah, I'd been doing it for 5 or 6 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it was my icebreaker, but I'd done a bit of Home and Away before that, a bit of Blue Heelers, a lot of kids' TV.
Yeah.
Fair share of ads and all that kind of stuff. So by the time I hit that, I felt like I was already a professional. But I was 21. Of course, I was going to feel that way.
We all knew so much at 21. A lot less than we do now, weirdly.
Oh, man, I thought I knew so much, just like everyone else.
What was sudden fame like?
Weird. It was. I'd experienced fame to a degree when I did Home and Away in '95, but nothing. Yeah, it wasn't
Not
really
like
Secret Life. That was kind of insane. I suppose I was typically tortured, and I just wanted to focus on my craft.
Did you?
And not really.
But you did.
Not really. No, I don't know. There was kind of I loved the people I worked with.
Yeah. Deborah Malman and Claudia Carvin.
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
He was just they
What
were
a
just
crew.
such smashing people.
Yeah.
And that probably kept me kind of just on the right side of the line, I suppose. But yeah, I was falling asleep during takes a lot and learning my lines on the fly, and I really didn't put in at all.
Why were you falling asleep during takes?
Oh, because I was up all night.
Partying?
Well, no, living. I wouldn't say partying. But,
I suppose when you're 21, it's the same thing.
Well, just because this job was taking up 14 or 16 hours of my day didn't mean that I was going to sacrifice the other parts of my life. So I was quite defiant about that, which meant that, I'd have to have naps during scenes.
Oh, that must have made you hugely popular on set.
Oh, look, I don't know how much I got away with or didn't really. I don't know how hard I was to work with or how easy I was to work with. I've told myself my whole career that I've been, high maintenance and an absolute terror to work with. And I'm not sure it's true. I've always tried. I think I've always had. I don't know.
Are
how
you
you just bullshit yourself about.
Well, it's imposter syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone kind of likes to say they had no friends at school. I was all alone. I was a loner at school, and I didn't find myself until adulthood. And it's all bullshit. If you take them back into their lives, you'll see that they were well populated with friends. So yeah, I don't know. My perceptions of the past are unreliable to say the least, especially when you consider that my life has been perforated with pretty extreme drug and alcohol abuse.
Were you needy as an actor? Are you needy as an actor? Because
No.
you're still an actor.
No, I'm not.
Do you need a lot of? That was amazing.
No, I hate all those affirmations and all of the sycophancy. That's one of the things that repulses me about the industry. It's a shocking culture of kind of pandering to the supposed egos of performers. It's a really unhealthy culture. Firstly, the performers usually don't have an ego and can see through it, and secondly, it doesn't help anyone in terms of honesty. I know certain people who are stuck in bubbles and they'll never get out of it, and they've become victims of their own narrative, and I find nothing sadder.
So then how do you reconcile that with Gold Logie winning?
You don't,
and even the whole Logie process.
You don't reconcile anything with Gold Logie winning. Those things aren't to be reconciled. They're just to be enjoyed.
Did you enjoy the night?
I did actually, yeah, which is strange because I've kind of been an anti-establishment guy my whole life, and definitely anti-mainstream, which is kind of why I suppose I've always felt so a little hypocritical in terms of the mainstream stuff that I've done. But yeah, weirdly I enjoyed the night, and that was very strange because it's just. I'm kind of fairly anxiety ridden, and
do you use
things,
that as a throwaway word, or you actually have anxiety?
No. I don't know the difference between feeling it and having it.
Right.
I think we all feel it, and yeah, typically at those things they're just really hard. They're really confronting in terms of trying to get over all of your barriers, really. And it's a very unnatural environment to be in, really heightened environment, and it's really surreal and
everyone's telling you're amazing. I mean, you walked in here today and everyone's like, congratulations. And do you feel like, yeah, I'm proud I won it, or do you feel a bit embarrassed, or
I'm very proud.
Yeah.
But yeah, not perhaps in the way people would expect me to be, though.
And what do you mean?
Well, I'm not proud of it as an actor.
Why not?
Because I don't think it was my acting that got me the gold.
You don't think that?
No.
Why?
Well, no actor from a one-off TV event or telly movie has ever even been nominated in gold.
Yeah, but you're more than an actor in that you've got a life outside of that.
And that's what I'm saying. The enjoyment comes from nabbing that award for reasons other than acting, because as much as the Logies as much as TV Week or commercial TV might spin it like, more people voted for the Logies this year than ever. Now that could mean that commercial television has never been more captivating to the Australian public than ever. Or it could be because I've got 400,000 women on my side who decided that they wanted nothing more than their little snotty kind of brother type to get up there and shake it up. So there's no doubt in my mind that I wouldn't have been up there without Molly, but so too, there's no doubt in my mind that I wouldn't have been up there without the village, who voted for me in droves, and many of them voted for the first time. The reason there was a record number of voters for the Logies this year is because our village turned up to the ballot box. I'm completely convinced of that.
Which is why I was annoyed that it was Molly up there and not Connie. Was Connie too sick to come?
No.
Or you didn't have a +1?
No, they wanted Connie there. That's how I thought I might have won.
Yeah.
Really. They were just so desperate to get her there.
Yeah, right.
But she has another project of her own coming up, and we were worried if I brought us to the Logies.
Do you mean the world record?
Yeah,
attempt?
My sister's breaking the world record in a few days, and
which is the largest,
longest line of coins.
Coins in the shape of a love heart.
Yeah. The biggest, fattest heart.
She's got more than 400,000 now, hasn't she?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
So we were worried if she went to the Logies that she'd gas out for the world record, and the world record's far more important. In a familial context to us, because it's a chance for her to say thank you to all of the people who have supported her throughout her cancer journey, and it's a chance for our community who have been there for Connie the whole way to come and say goodbye to her. So that really kind of there's Gold Logie,
Sorry,
and then
TV
there's
work.
that. Yeah. I was happy to hold her back.
I suppose in some ways I've avoided you and avoided your story for a long time because I've found it too confronting. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's said that to you.
No, you are. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Jeez, aren't you a fragile little puppet?
I really am. Because this is about me. This isn't about Connie or you.
Hey,
this
it's
is
Mamma
about
Mia,
me
man.
and my anxiety. I just found the idea of a mother of 2 kids being terminally ill too much. I found it triggered every terror that I had. It's every mother's worst nightmare. It's every brother's worst, just every person's worst nightmare. And to my detriment, I found that I had to look away, and I followed what you did, and I followed your unicycle ride, and I was in awe. But I found what you were doing so confronting because you were facing it head on. And yet you weren't, because
Interesting.
You got on a unicycle and you took off for 6 months when she was given 6 months
12
to live.
months.
And I thought that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, it wasn't
So
my choice.
speaking of not being prepared to confront things, Samuel Johnson, tell me about the decision to do that.
Well, my biggest fear was that she'd die while I was away.
But of course you thought she was going to.
Yeah, which is why I didn't want to do it. And why I fought not to do it for over a year. My sister's a very obstinate type, and if she sets her mind to something, she's not likely to deviate. And I said, Connie, you've got no idea what you're opening up. It's Pandora's box. You know, I mean, once you open this, it can't be closed.
In what sense? What did you mean?
Well, once you open it, you're dying publicly. You know, you've
you mean once you announced I'm doing this,
if you want to
my
go
sister's
public,
got cancer.
You know,
Yeah,
I didn't want to
right.
go public at all.
I didn't even think of that because she was first diagnosed with cancer when she was 11. So you were how old?
10.
So you guys are really close in age.
Yeah, and I can't remember her not having cancer.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Did it mean much to you then when you were 10?
Yeah. Hell.
What did you understand it to be?
That it could kill kids, and that Connie would most likely be killed. Connie didn't have a friendly cancer. She had a
She had
nasty,
bone cancer.
virulent, rare, aggressive tumour called a Ewing's sarcoma, and you die from them. So there were 2 kids that got it that year at the RCH. The other one died. My sister lived.
And how long did that affect your childhood and her childhood for?
Oh, really for years, because she spent the better part of 2.5 years fighting it, and then five years waiting for the all clear. So our lives are fully informed by that experience. We're little cancer kids.
Is there just 2 of you?
There's an older sister Hilda, who so there's 3 of us. Yeah. But we were little cancer kids going off on the cancer camps, and she was Challenge, I was Canteen. She wouldn't let me go to the same cancer.
Were you ever jealous?
Group. Jealous.
That she was getting so much attention?
I used to, when I'd pick up the phone, I'd say hello, and they'd go, "Oh, how's Connie?" and I'd feel like saying, I'm flipping fine, thanks very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose there was a childlike resentment towards the attention that was heaped upon her, but it wasn't overriding or anything. It was in what I'm told are normal levels.
And then she got well enough to have kids.
Miraculously, yeah, because she had cancer when she was an adolescent and was told not to expect to be able to have them. So yeah, the first one she had a molar pregnancy. It turned into a hairy tumour, and required further chemo. So that didn't go well. But then she busted out a couple successfully after that.
Was she warned not to have kids?
I think she was warned of the risks.
That it could bring the cancer back?
I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I find it hard talking about cancer at the best of times with Connie, let alone women.
Girl cancer.
The women's stuff.
And she got cancer in her womb?
Yeah.
Uterine cancer? I'm asking you more women's questions.
All I know is that it was a cancer of the womb.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was presumably after her kids?
That was before her kids. So,
wow.
yeah. So she had a baby and the baby turned into a tumour. That's kind of what happened, and then so they had to hoik that out, and then give her chemo because it was malignant.
So these kids really wanted to be born.
Yeah, man.
They really wanted to be born.
Either that or she did.
Yeah. And then breast cancer 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So they would have been what, 3 and
4 years old. Yeah. So she was diagnosed with mastitis 3 times, and by the time she got on top of it, it was too late. Liver, lung, spine, pelvis, knee. 6 to 12 months, arrange your affairs.
And unicycle?
Well, I asked. Connie's got a healthier sense of self than I have had typically, and I knew. I was up in Canberra sitting on her bench, and I never would sit on her bench because she's very proper. But I was, because she'd just been diagnosed, and it was a very bright day, and the sun was just bouncing off everything, and we were just sitting there in the dark, and she was just kind of wrestling with the notion of having to tell her kids that she wasn't going to be able to see them through, and I watched her just kind of really drowning in the hopelessness of it all, and in an effort to kind of bring her out of it, and this is the moment that changed my life. I thought, I'll appeal to her sense of ego, because she's always had a big one. And I said, what do you want your legacy to be? Knowing that she'd buy into the notion of legacy. Now, I don't buy into the notion of legacy. I hope that the 2 people close to me, kind of when I die, go, oh, well, he tried.
Who are those 2 people?
Chrissy and Gus. I've got 2 friends. And I'd hope they'd go, he tried, he meant well. And then they'd move on with their lives.
You've got your legacy, you're set.
Yeah, right. But yeah, Connie kind of breathed in with what I like to say was more gravitas than the Queen of England, and decided then and there that she wanted to remind every young mum in the land to check their boobs, because mums just forget about their health when they're looking after their kids, I'm told. And your children just come first, and you end up kind of putting your own health issues maybe further down the line. So she wanted me to leverage my fading profile to try and remind other young mums of the perils of breast cancer, and who says no to a dying wish. I mean, you've got to lock in then. Yeah,
and no pressure. It's like, I'm just your dying sister and I'm asking you to do something for me.
It's funny, before she'd even dealt with the diagnosis, she was like, okay, well, how do we remind every young mum? And I'm like, well, I'm not famous enough, honey. Like, you need a footballer or you need a Shane Warne or or I don't know. I can't, But at that time, I didn't have much of a profile at all, and I knew that even if I exploited it to its nth degree, that it would mean it was unlikely that I'd be able to kind of, help her with this. And she said, we've got to choose something that's not been done before.
She's smart.
She opened up her laptop and started looking up kind of Australia-wide kind of trips and records that had been done. We saw that someone had done it in a horse and cart, someone had run it, walked it, like everything had been done. And the 2 things we came down to that hadn't been done were a unicycle and a pogo stick. And
could you ride a unicycle?
Yeah, I could.
Handy.
Yeah.
Why could you?
Because I was taught by my host family in Japan as an 11-year-old when I was over there for the Asian Pacific Children's Peace Convention. Picked it up when I was 11.
I want to park that story for a second because when you said you had a fading profile, it wasn't that way. It didn't used to be that way. You were the hottest ticket.
I had a couple of years in the sun.
You had a couple of years in this glaring spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Because you were doing every voiceover. It wasn't just Secret Life of Us. You were doing voiceovers. You would have had lots of chicks.
I don't know about that. Nothing happened. I still worked. It's just that
but you were a working actor.
Yeah.
I don't mean you were kicking back on an island, but you were in demand.
I was a jobbing actor my whole career. It's just that some years there's more focus on you because of the type of work you're doing. So, I could go a couple of years doing a bit of theatre and, and the odd guestie and whatever, and it's you're pretty much out of the public eye. So I never really stopped. I did a year on radio.
Yeah.
I just kept doing what I do. It's just that I suppose a 23 year has been punctuated most clearly by a few years on a TV show called Rush, which was a cop drama. The Secret Life of Us in the noughties, and then Molly Meldrum. So I've been lucky enough in that period to have three kind of semi-hit kind of hits.
There's a perception that if you're famous, you're also rich. But that's not true for actors, is it? Even if you're on a really hit show.
Oh, no, not at all.
It can be.
You're rich while you're working.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take long for it to run out.
But
having said that, I've done really well. I've made more than $100,000 every year in my career. So, that's a lot of money.
I was going to say, can you become too famous to work? Can you become too famous to work outside of acting?
Oh, it goes in cycles. So, so you'll have a period where you're hot and then it'll dry up because people will decide that you're overexposed. So that's true for all of us. It's a cyclical thing and we all go through it and we all have our time in the sun. And when you win a Logie, you look at all your mates and you go, yeah, well, it'll be your turn next. And, it's just a revolving cyclical kind of thing. And the job doesn't change. People's perception of you being in work or out of work changes, but really you're still jobbing.
Around the time or after the Secret Life of Us, it was in the noughties, your girlfriend committed suicide?
That's right.
Was she your fiancée?
No.
She was your girlfriend?
Yeah.
And your mum committed suicide as well?
That's right, yeah.
First of all, I'm so sorry about both of those things, which does not seem even remotely adequate.
No, thank you for your sentiment.
I can't. I wish you hadn't have had to go through either of those things. It must have been
I wish
horrific.
They hadn't have. It's, I think most lives at some stage are affected by cancer or suicide or mental health or drug issues or these are all the traumas that dot our lives, I suppose. And suicide's been a theme for me my whole life. It's an interesting thing. I've got a few problems with the way suicide's treated in this country. I certainly don't like the way people who commit suicide are labelled as weak or as selfish. I think that's really unfair. That's making it about your feelings. And I think maybe anyone who does say that about somebody who's killed themselves needs to have a think about it before they kind of throw that stuff around again, because it's really dangerous. It doesn't take weakness to do something like that. It takes incredible courage and incredible strength, and you have to be propelled by insane amounts of pain. And I think it's really insensitive to say, how could you leave your loved ones behind when you could just as easily throw it the other way around. Or I don't know. I've always had an inbuilt respect for anybody that chooses to die. I don't resent my mother for it. You speak to some people, they'll say she saved me by doing it.
How old were you?
I was 3.
You don't have any memories of her, or you do?
No. I know it vicariously through her poetry, which she left plenty of. So
was she very unwell before she died?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, she was she was seriously sick and she'd tried countless times and everybody was relieved for her when it happened. And how could I blame her for that?
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean? How could I say that's so selfish?
But that's a very adult,
I had that as a kid.
Did you?
Yeah, it was inbuilt. It was I never ever. I never questioned it. I just, I don't know, I had a weird acceptance of it. And then when Lainey died, it was, again, I'm not going to sit there and fall prey to feelings of guilt, regret, anger, resentment, all of those cheap emotions that do nothing but toxify your life if you let them get a hold of you.
Are they a choice, though?
Absolutely. You've got to work on yourself intellectually. You have to make a decision, a conscious decision to change your habits, your intellectual habits. So, one of my big ones is jealousy. I hate jealousy. How dare you be jealous of your partner? That implies ownership. That implies that they are operating on your set of expectations and rules. Whereas if you really loved them, perhaps you'd support their decision making.
And you extend that to like that principle to suicide.
I'm not sure whether it's the same principle. I just see.
Well, you have no anger or resentment towards your former partner.
I have no anger or resentment for anybody for supposedly cheating on me, because I don't own them in the first place, and they can make their own decisions. It's their body, it's their life. I don't have any resentments for anyone who's knocked themselves off. They're in a lot of pain. I feel pain for them. I feel sad for them.
And for you?
For me, I feel gifted. I feel gifted by having known the people that I've lost. I think people have got weird ideas of kind of beginnings and ends and life and death and starts and finishes. At the end of the day, why are we so final about it? If people break up from a relationship, they go, oh no, my relationship failed. Really? So just because it ended, all of those successes that you enjoyed while the relationship was alive are just going to be thrown away? What do you mean your relationship failed? It failed because it ended? Well, all things have a beginning and an end. How can you say that it failed? I don't look at any of my previous relationships as failures. They didn't not work. They worked while they worked. And then we moved on. So yeah, I just think we've got and if it's my girlfriend hanging from a noose, or if it's burying my sister from cancer, then my philosophy is that I was privileged enough to share the life they had with them. And how dare I piss on that gift by cheapening it and making it about me and my most of the time, many times, futile, negative and toxic emotions.
So many people feel so hardly done by. And they're mostly victims. The people who are least hardly done by. Yeah, but you have had some really shitty things happen to you.
No, I've had life, Mia. I've had life. It's not. I don't see myself as.
Most people don't lose their mother, their partner, and their beloved sister before they turn 40.
Well,
do you accept that?
I've met many people who have suffered more greatly and lost much more.
So you never go, why me?
Never. No, I wasn't brought up that way.
And you've always faced this stuff head on.
Absolutely, insofar as you can. I mean, I've also tried to avoid it through drug use, and I would say that I've always tried to, but I've acted out in a lot of ways over the years. But
so you do that to block pain? I'm such a therapist.
Apparently, I did. Yeah.
Are you sober now?
I wouldn't say it was that black and white.
Yeah,
I'm not. Abstinence doesn't quite work for me, so I'm more into harm minimisation.
Are you in a good place now, I should ask?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I have been since my 20s, basically. My 20s were a train wreck, but my 30s are all right. Like most blokes, we even out.
How did you pull out of your 20s train wreck?
Step by step, one foot in front of the other. I don't know. I don't.
But you could have gone the other way. Plenty of people have. So
no, I always love life too much.
Yeah, you have an inbuilt handbrake somewhere there.
Yeah, totally. Like, trust me, I've gone harder than most, and my appetite for destruction, has been substantial at times, and I've gone face to face with many seasoned drinkers and drug users and seen them through. Put it that way. So I've got a tank on me, yeah, I wouldn't say I've danced with the devil in several years.
Remind me never to go drinking with you. I can drink 2 glasses.
I can't drink anymore
and
either.
Then I have to go home.
I can't drink since I played Molly.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. suppose he showed me what could happen if I kept going.
Okay, back to the night. I was upset, and I copped it for saying that I was upset that Molly was on the... No, I wasn't upset at Molly. I was upset that no one took him off the stage and let you have your moment, because he didn't win that Logie, you did, and it was your moment and it was Connie's moment. And I appreciate that you're very diplomatic and you are just looking at me and you are not going to say anything, but I'm just going to say that because I felt that moment was taken from you. But anyway... What's done is done. So you're on a motorcycle, unicycle.
Yeah.
She could have died. And I kept thinking, why is he out there and not with her?
Yeah, that's what that was.
I'm sure I'm not the first person who said that to you.
That was the big thing. That was the hardest thing to reconcile.
Yeah.
And ultimately Connie ended it in one moment. I threw all of my misgivings at her.
Yeah.
In my kind of polaric, manic way. I was at my best. I was really stressy. And
what did you say? I'm not going to go.
I don't want to be away from the family at this time. Now the dad's dead. I'm the oldest bloke. I want to be here.
Who is your family now? Tell me what your family looks like. Your dad brought you guys up?
Yeah, me and my two sisters. Then there's a half brother as well. And then there's a whole bunch of kind of kids beneath us. But we're a pretty tight mob, and I didn't want to be away at all.
Of course you didn't.
And I didn't want to go public with it either. I was really reticent to do that. And she said, and after I told her I didn't want to be away, she said, Sam, we've said all we have to say.
Oh, well, what can you say?
And she said, and besides, this is bigger than us. So I was like, oh,
on your bike.
Righto. But, it suited me as well because I got to get away from her cancer, which I don't like facing. I'm very bad at going into the hospital because it affects me so deeply.
Yeah.
Like a lot of cancer patients, they're like, oh, you find out who your friends are when you get cancer. All of a sudden, half your friends drop off. I'm that friend that drops off. I'm that guy. I hate dealing with it.
Well, look how far. I don't even know you and I dropped off.
Yeah.
Or Connie.
I keep, yeah, exactly right. I keep saying to cancer patients, please don't blame the people that can't be there for you during it because it doesn't mean they don't care. It's just very hard for some of them to face it. So it suited me to get off on the unicycle and leave it all. And at that time I was dealing with some fairly heavy personal issues that I was keen to try and address physically.
Like
just kind of personal and substance issues.
Okay.
Definitely I wasn't in a good place with personally with my relationship, and I was looking for an out there.
That certainly ticks that box.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, again, the same old kind of substance issues. So I was really keen to kind of
make a big change.
Yeah, and for Connie, it was a love your brother thing. As much as I was out there kind of flying the flag for her. Her sending me out was definitely trying to fix me up before she died.
A bit of tough love.
Yeah, just
get on your unicycle and ride around Australia, you bastard.
Yeah, and if you don't find yourself by then, I can't help you.
Oh, I've got chills. She sounds amazing. Now a lot of time to think out there.
Oh yeah.
How'd you do that?
Oh yeah, it was great.
What'd you do every day? What was your routine
like? I forgave myself, man. Like it took 16,000 Ks. Just like. If ever anyone's, I just think if you're tortured at all or if you've got unresolved issues, something to be said for kind of expressing them physically. There's nothing more dangerous than an idle person, especially if that person is struggling with their sense of self or any of that kind of stuff. So it was a great pilgrimage for me to go on. It was really I've benefited more than cancer research and more than Connie through this.
How's your bum?
My bum? It's all right. The balls will never be the same. But that's okay.
Lucky you don't have kids.
What's that?
Lucky you don't want to have your own children.
Yeah, lucky.
Is that true? I read that about you.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Not interested. Were you ever?
No, I'm clucky. I get clucky. And I love kids. But I was destined to kind of to help with other kids. You know how I feel about it, honestly, Maya, is that if there weren't so many fuckhead fathers around that have left their kids high and dry, then I may have gotten to have kids myself. But as it happened, there were too many kids reaching out to me and saying, be my dad, and I'll never forget my fifth kid that I was involved with, Kai. I took him to the pool, to Box Hill Pool. It was our first date without mum, and I was pretty excited because I love kids so much, and they're just wonderful. And I took him to the pool, and we were playing on these shark-shaped floaties. And he looked at me. He was just the most beautiful 3-year-old, and he said, "Do you want to play sharks?" And I said, "Oh, I totally want to play sharks, but I don't know how to play. You're going to have to tell me the rules." He said, "It's easy. You're the daddy shark and I'm the baby shark, and you have to protect me."
Oh.
And I just said, "Come here, mate." And we spent 10 years together. So,
Oh.
you know, so I've had a rich life.
How have you met these kids? So these are kids that have come into your life through girlfriends?
Yeah, or family.
Yeah.
Yeah. We come from one of those old school families where you all share the kids.
You're Italian?
No.
I was going to say, sounds very European.
No, it's just whenever the kids aren't in the best spot, rather than keep them there, we just get them out.
How are Connie's kids?
They're amazing.
They've grown up, like you growing up, always knowing Connie with
God.
cancer. They've done the same, I guess.
Oh, man, they're special. Oh, man, Willoughby, the older one, he's so empathic. It's superhuman levels of empathy. He does nothing but concern about other people's health and well-being and happiness. He's genuinely concerned about other people's well-being. I've not seen it so strong in a kid ever. You know, like ever since he's been, you know, tiny, he's always, you know, patted and stroked and supported. He's a real carer,
nurturing.
Yeah, and the younger one, he's kind of got savant kind of abilities when it comes to just creaming everyone at everything because he's mentally so assiduous, if that's the word.
How do you have normality in a family where someone's got a terminal illness?
Oh, you do, totally.
Is it because you can't be in sort of crisis and grieving the whole time? Or?
I reckon it brings you right into normality.
Why?
You know, like it's because it reinforces kind of the importance of family, the importance of appreciating the present while you've got it, the importance of savouring your loved ones while you can. So you end up in this kind of heightened family, or some people do. Like our family's been amazing since Connie got sick. It's really brought us together. It's been unifying. So in a way, because our family's always been a little bit fractured. Yeah, it's been a great kind of little come together for us. So, I don't know. In a way, the cancer has normalised our family.
Does Connie have a partner?
Yeah. He's a ranger, and he's got a big ranger.
I love that's the first way you describe him.
He's got a big. I was just picturing him walking to me 2 nights ago, and he's got a bung back now, so he looks more and more like a I don't know, like a goblin or something. He's got this big red beard, big red beard, and his back's going, and he's starting to look like one of the 7 dwarfs. He's a really lovely man, though. He's very smart. He's running the family business, looking after the kids, full-time carer for Connie, and also doing a degree at the same time. He's an absolute machine.
And her deciding to stop treatment, how long ago did that happen?
A couple of months ago, a few months ago. She didn't so much decide as it was decided for her. You know, the hospital just sent her home and said, "Your body's had enough. Enjoy it while you can." She's had 11 years of chemo, so most oncologists would never treat a patient who's had as much chemo in their body as Connie in their whole careers. She's quite the exception.
I imagine. Do you talk a lot about the end with her?
Yeah, totally. It's one of our big themes. Totally, yeah. It's, you know, I'm one of the people charged with making sure that after she dies, everything goes smoothly. So
I was going to say, I can't imagine that she's left a lot to chance.
No. She's set that family up good and proper before she died, and she wasn't going to die before then. She's pulled off some amazing moves, and the family are going to be okay.
And what about you?
Fine, you know, absolutely fine. People are like, "Oh, you okay? You must be really struggling." It's one of those weird ironies, really. My life's never been better. So,
what do you mean by that?
I've found happiness insofar as you can. I'm very content. I'm professionally satisfied. I'm personally satisfied. And socially, I'm satisfied.
I know. I want to tick those off for a second because professionally, you said you were retiring.
Yeah, well, professionally, I'm a cancer advocate and have been for 5 years. I haven't been an actor in my head for a long time.
But that doesn't pay the bills.
No, I'm lucky because I can do a voiceover or two a week, and that pays for the week. So it frees me up to spend my other 60 hours on Love Your Sister. So professionally, I'm really happy. Like at home, we've got like 2,500 orders outstanding in our shop, and it's just chaos. And I can't wait to get back and dive back into it.
But you loved acting. You know, it was a craft. I assume you enjoyed it. It wasn't just something that you
in its
fell
purest
into.
form, it's something to love. Yeah, but yeah, my love, has been fading. Has been fading for many years.
Why?
I don't see it as a true art. I see it as an interpretive art. I see sculpture or music or painting as kind of a more purely creative art form. So basically an actor is just kind of sandwiched between the writer and the director, and you really don't have a lot of say in stuff in terms of the creative process.
So you're almost like an interpreter.
Yeah, I'd say a puppet, really, and so yeah, there's not enough art there, not enough creativity, and as our industry has become further managerialised, so too has the room to do the art of it kind of diminished, and it's gotten to the point where it's something that doesn't satisfy me at all.
When you say you're personally satisfied at the moment, is there love in your life?
There's always love in my life.
You know what I mean.
My life is full of love, absolutely.
You know what I mean.
What, are you asking who I'm fucking?
Yes.
Well, who are you fucking?
My husband.
Yeah, who else?
Just my husband.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't get too drunk one time?
No, I didn't. We worked together. We're really tired. You get really tired at the end of the day. Yeah.
Is that why you work so hard, to get away from him?
No, I work with him.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So that's not an option.
Oh, so you're so busy building your empire that you've got no time to root.
No, I do. Yeah. I got a marina in recently.
Yeah?
Do you know what that is?
What is it?
It's an IUD. Do you know what an IUD is? It's like a little coil thing that sits at the top of your cervix in your uterus, and it stops you getting pregnant. But ironically, that's not why I got it. I got it because your periods get really heavy in your 40s.
Yeah.
And so now, instead of having hysterectomies, women are getting these things called marinas because they emit a bit of progesterone, so you don't get a period anymore.
How cool is
that? And the byproduct of that is that it's also a contraceptive.
Men can get a contraceptive now.
How?
I heard that.
Can they?
Yeah,
do you have one?
True. No, I don't need one.
You're not having sex?
No, I'm
celibate.
I'm very safe.
You're very safe. Are you sterile?
No.
You're talking code?
No.
You use a lot of condoms?
No, I'm not sterile. In fact, my samples have been analysed and determined to be amongst the most active ever seen.
So you're a donor?
No, I'm not,
You should
but
be.
I had to freeze it before I left on the unicycle ride upon my sister's insistence in case I ever ended up wanting to have kids. And
that's a good
idea.
idea.
I did have a look at my little spermatozoids or whatever they're called.
And your boys can swim.
They're all ADHD, just like me.
They're all like...
They're just going bonkers.
Thorpy.
Oh, yeah,
sperm.
Totally. Yeah, more Thorpy than Hackett.
Phew. Well, they have been Hackett in the past. So you weren't kidding when you said about your testicles actually getting jammed.
Yeah,
Are they destroyed?
No, they're not destroyed, but you're at a higher risk of prostate issues like truckies, like cabbies, because of the heat generated in the saddle. Oh. So, yeah, with a rise in temperature, so too does your risk of cancer.
Do you have colonoscopies?
No, I don't need them. Apparently you can avoid them now. Right when I turned 40.
Really?
Yeah, right when I turned 40, thinking I'm going to go and have to...
You told me you were 39. When did you turn 40?
I'm turning 40.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, right as I'm about to turn 40. I read in the paper that you don't need to get your finger up your bum anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they've got...
Well, no, a colonoscopy is when you get a camera.
Oh, is it?
It's more than a finger.
I thought it was when they do the finger. No. I don't know. I try and stay away from those areas.
I've had one of those.
Really?
Camera.
Really? Did you?
You sleep through it, they give you anaesthetic.
Did you play it at Christmas time, like a family video?
Yeah, imagine that being your job. There were just all these people in the waiting room. Because my sister-in-law got colon cancer, and so then the whole family went off. I was going to ask you, do you all vigilant now about your cancer checks for different things?
I'm still a bit blokey, in the sense that I'm still a little bit in denial about my health. But
Don't make your older sister do love my brother, okay?
yeah,
Love your brother.
I know. I've got to.
Just don't.
Yeah, I know. Practice what you preach. Right?
Go and get some things tested.
Yeah.
But so I've got a friend who would love to be introduced to you. So I just need to ask if you're single or not.
I'm not dating.
You're not dating.
No, I don't get into it, and I'm not into relationships.
Why not?
Because
Are you gay?
No, I'm not.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think they work.
Well, that's a big statement.
Generally speaking.
Look at Connie and her husband.
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't work for you, maybe.
The cohabitative monogamous model doesn't suit me.
You can't keep it in your pants.
No, it's not that. I'm not that highly sexed.
I'm
really not. I've got a reputation even amongst my own family as being highly sexed, and I don't know where it's come from.
I just threw that in there. I don't know if you've got a reputation.
No, I actually, because people equate it with being in the public eye.
That's very true.
I think
because
they
people
think
assume that people would be throwing themselves at you, and you'd have a lot of opportunity.
And it's just not like that. I'm not out at pubs and clubs. I'm not in positions where I can meet people, really. I'm a workaholic.
I'm not in positions where I could meet people. I've just got 400,000 people in my Facebook
Yeah, and they
group.
all see me as their little brother. So, I mean, I was hoping I might get more action out of that, the whole charity card.
Do you know what's so funny? I once had to ask someone for advice about how there was this guy that was a bit keen on me, and I didn't want to be rude, but I didn't want to. And she gave me this great line to use. She said, just say to him, I love you like a brother.
Yeah.
And she said that is an immediate boner killer.
Yeah, totally.
And he said back to me, he goes, "Ooh, love you like a brother." I'm crushed. And he got the message immediately.
I've got 400,000 women loving me like a brother, and it's it's devastating.
Don't you want a person though?
No.
You don't want a person.
No.
You don't want to be someone's person.
No.
Too much pressure.
It's ludicrous.
Don't you know yourself to be loved like that?
I have love in my life. I have a great sex life. I have a lot of love in my life.
I suppose I'm trying to be prescriptive.
I don't know why we pigeonhole ourselves. I don't know. I think we should be a little bit more open-minded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Open relationships are an option for you?
No, just no relationships. Relationships, but not in the traditional sense of the word. I'm more inclined to keep a lover or to fuck a friend.
To fuck a friend or keep a lover.
Yeah.
It's very kind of bohemian.
Thank you.
Okay, and then socially you say you're
I'm
really
very
happy
loyal.
as well.
I'm very loyal, and I'm not into rooting whoever I can root. This doesn't mean that I'm not.
You just can't commit. You don't want to commit.
I just show my commitment in other ways. Yeah.
Like what?
I'm fully committed to the people in my life that I love, and they never question my commitment to them.
Socially you're happy too?
Socially, I'm really happy.
You live far away. You live in the country.
Yeah. I live in one of Mother Nature's beautiful cleavages. Sorry about this.
Oh, that's your phone. That's all right. You have to buy a case of beer if only I drank one.
Yes, that's a fair rule.
Oh.
Sorry, this is very rude.
That's
you know why I didn't
completely
turn it?
fine.
You know why I didn't turn it off?
Well, you're allowed to not turn it off.
Because I didn't expect it to ring because it doesn't ring that much.
Who is it?
It's Mari. She's my friend dying of breast cancer.
Another one?
Yeah.
This is the thing. You're now in a cancer community.
Yeah.
You're swimming in a sea of sadness and tragedy. Now you're going to say it's not sadness and tragedy, it's beautiful and it's uplifting. Is that what you're going to say?
Well, it's not. It's tragic and it's sad, definitely.
How can you live with that much sadness?
Because it doesn't even feel like a cancer job or a cancer thing.
No, I don't mean the cancer part. I mean the people who are dying, people who are grieving, people who are scared and sad.
I was just writing a note just before I came here to a girl who wrote to me who lost her husband 2 weeks ago. I spend all of my time trying to be there for people who are in those positions. And I'm open and available 24/7, and anyone who wants to talk about that stuff can. And I don't know. I didn't decide that. It just happened. And what am I going to do? Close myself off because it hurts too much? They're the ones in pain, mate. These are the people that are going through cancer themselves and losing their loved ones. And it's great for me to be around them too, because a lot of them are feeling stuff that I'm either going to go through or have been through. And I don't know, it's not a depressing place. It's really not. In fact, I've found my happiness here. So it's a weird thing.
Are you scared of death?
Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying for everybody. It's so awful to think about. I hate the idea of having to sign off. This life we have, this wondrous, complex, stimulating, educational life. You know, we've got so much rad stuff everywhere we look. And the thought of losing that is just awful, but it's a fair price. If you consider everything that we get in life, it's only fair that we pay such an epic price for it.
How do you replenish?
I play darts on my own. I walk around the farm that I live on. I seek solace in music, and I'm inclined to get sucked into a bit of online poker every now and then. Not for real money. So, yeah, I have my hobbies, but invariably I don't get to them much, a bit like you wouldn't to yours, because both of us appreciate the value of work.
You need to stay busy?
It's saved my life, staying busy. And I've always had the adage in the back of my head, there's nothing more dangerous than an idle man.
Or an idle mind.
Yes, exactly.
It's like a kelpie or a cattle dog with nothing to do.
Absolutely,
They
and I'm
just
kelpie.
Piss
totally.
all over the furniture.
Exactly,
and
exactly.
tear up the carpet.
Oh, there's nothing more aggravating than watching people confine their pets like that. Yeah. Don't fence them in, peeps. Yeah. We need running. We need especially blokes, because we're a bit simpler. Often I just need to go for a walk, just like a dog.
Yeah, I was going to say, after all of that time, firstly alone, secondly the exercise, and thirdly the being in nature for a year.
Yeah.
What was you've had to acclimatise?
Well, not really, because I've always, had Mother Nature as my God. She's absolutely the only woman for me. I serve her and am so loyal to her and reverential towards her. She gives me more than sucker. She just gives me everything, and I love her so much. I've seen so much of her. I just got back from Antarctica, where she is at her most potent, and she's my drug now, and she gives me everything a man could hope for. Really, it's really Mother Nature that's. Mother Nature and a bit of good old-fashioned work that have meant that I've had a full and productive life.
Just finally, what can we do to better support if we've got friends of friends who are facing cancer? What should we do, and what should we not do? Oh yeah,
definitely don't tell them that if they think positive that they'll get through this. Don't tell them that they're an inspiration, because they didn't choose to be there. Don't tell them that they're a hero. Don't and certainly don't go telling them that they're going to find a cure in an apricot kernel. Stay away from people with your nutty theories, okay? Because if your nutty theories worked, they would have been applied more generally. As Tim Minchin said, there's a name for alternative medicine that works. Medicine.
On one hand, there's science, and there is no other hand.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my sister says, you know what? It's not my determination or my strength of will that made me last 7 years when I was given 6 to 12 months to live. It's science. The facts are that if she had the same disease 10 years ago, she would have been knocked out in about 3 months. But thanks to recent advances, she was able to last 7 years, because they can prolong her life now thanks to recent advances in medical science. It is not because my sister is thinking positively. It's not because she's relying on a great support network. I don't think the cancer really speaks the language of positive thinking. The cancer will do what it does, no matter how positive, no matter how many rainbows you're envisaging. So really be careful with your advice.
And your platitudes.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're feeling hopeless, Don't try and pretend that you're not. Be honest. Say, look, I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to help you. Can you please let me know what I can do, because I'm finding it really hard to predict what your needs are at this point. And every cancer patient is different. So I can't go telling someone how to behave towards a cancer patient, because every patient is different. But certainly don't go throwing cliches at them, and certainly think about the questions you might ask, because do you think cabbies get sick of being told that their cab stinks? Do you think, lawyers get sick of jokes being made of them when they admit that they're a lawyer? It's the same, actors get accused of being up themselves, or let's not just kind of fall into stereotype when it comes to cancer, and let's appreciate the individual nature of it, and please don't lean on cliches. They can really, really wear a patient down.
How can we best support Connie and you and Love Your Sister?
Go to loveyoursister.org and check us out. Go to Love Your Sister on Facebook and check us out. And if you like us, there's plenty there for you if you want to have a look.
What can we buy?
Stuff.
What stuff can we buy?
Heaps of stuff. We've got heaps of stuff you can buy, but
you're a really good salesperson.
I'm not really interested in making money off this. I'm interested in establishing a connection, and then if we can establish a connection, and if you guys like us and we like you, then you'll find that we treat you better than any other charity. We're awesome at what we do. We're an amazing bunch. We're really fun. We take the piss, and we're not your regular charity. We won't insult you with fluffy toys, greeting cards, and another fucking e-newsletter. We're not gonna do any of that normal charity shit that absolutely annoys the hell out of you. We deliberately don't do things that way. If you want to hit us, you can hit us up personally.
Hey, thank you for coming in. Now get back to your farm.
Thanks for having me, Mia.
If you've been affected by any of the issues discussed in this episode, please call Lifeline on 131114. Thank you for listening to No Filter. Oh, what a man. What a story. I can't tell you how affected I was and how just uplifted I was by that conversation. I feel like I'm kind of different after meeting Sam. I'm in awe in so many ways. What an interesting guy. No Filter was brought to you by the Telstra Smart Home app. Now, I have Telstra Smart Home in my home. I've had it set up, and it enables me to use my phone to check out what's going on in my home at any time, whether I'm in the podcast studio, whether I'm on the road, anywhere. Or even if I'm just at my desk, even if I'm just in my car and can't remember if I turned off my hair straightener or not. You can turn the lights on and off when you're away or home late. You can turn the heater on before you walk in the door. You can check to make sure you closed windows and doors before you left. And you can even see if a parcel arrived while you're at work. And thank you so much to Telstra Smart Home for helping us to produce this podcast and tell incredible stories like the one of Sam and Connie and Love Your Sister. You can support Sam and Connie's Love Your Sister by visiting loveyoursister.org to find out more and like their Facebook page. Their Facebook page is brilliant. It's not sad. It's funny and amazing and feisty and supportive and just the most incredible community of women. To have access to all the Mamamia podcasts in one place, you can download our app, which is pink, very important, and it's in the App Store. And tell a friend. Download it on their phone when they're in the bathroom. Do me a favour. Do yourself a favour. Molly Meldrum used to say that, if you're old enough to remember. Molly Meldrum, countdown. If friends, family or colleagues don't really understand podcasts and podcasting, it's a great way to help them understand it by hijacking their phone, downloading the podcast app and showing them how to use it. It's a one-stop shop for all our shows, and sometimes we put little extra morsels in there too that aren't released anywhere else. If you want to get in contact with us and can suggest a guest, ask me a question or just leave a comment, please call the pod phone and leave a message on 02 8999 9386. You can leave a message there about any of our podcasts. We listen to them and they rock our world, I have to tell you. Or if you're an email kind of a person, you can email podcasts@mamamia.com.au. You can buy my book, at miafriedman.com. My book is called Work-Strife Balance. It's about the tough times in life. It's about the unexpected things that happen to us and the lessons that I've learnt from some of those things that have happened in my life, and how balance really is bullshit and no one really has work-life balance, and that's okay. This episode was produced by Eliza Ratliff and Kelly Glover for the Mamamia Women's Network, and it was edited by Kelly. The executive producer is Monique Bowley, and the head of entertainment is Holly Wainwright. I'm Mia Friedman. I will see you on the internet. Lots of love. Bye.